Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a video here today from Cosmicverse titled 45% of modern women are projected to be single by 2030. As we all know, guys, most, if not all of these modern women have made themselves so toxic and undateable with their high standards and childish behaviors, then they actually wonder why no men want to date them. It is absolutely ridiculous. Today's video was suggested to me by Matrix of Madness. I'm going to leave both of their channels linked in the pinned comments, so make sure you go and check these guys out. And don't forget to leave your own thoughts and comments, and let's jump right into the video.
And I just saw a statistic that said by 2030, 45% of women are going to be single.
I look sexy as sexy AF, and not a single soul has looked in my way.
Why would any guy even look at her? These women made the dating market so horrible that guys would rather stay single and not risk being with a girl who is like them.
Yes, dating sucks everywhere. Guys don't even attempt to approach you with any kind of seriousness.
Dating sucks everywhere indeed, but women are doing it to themselves with delusional standards.
Exactly, guys. Women have fluctuated the minimum requirements for a man to be even looked at, let alone being dated. These same women will wonder why nobody wants to date them. So shocking.
Recently, I've been hearing a lot of buzz that predicts 45% of women will be single and childless by 2030.
Single, yes. Childless, I doubt that. And why is that? Because these women will go and hook up with the top 5% of men and get pregnant with their children, expecting that these top percenters will actually settle for them and continue to look after the kid.
I think I'm done with dating. I can't. I think I finally understand why people settle, because this is so horrible and miserable.
I just want to know, since so many people agreed with my last video about how horrible dating is right now, where are you guys finding people? Are you going to shows, coffee shops, work? Where are you guys finding these people? Are you using dating apps? If so, which ones? Because whatever I'm doing is not working.
Of course, it is not working because these quote-unquote ladies have been telling men to stay away from them and ruining their lives. These women did it to themselves, and here they are turning back to the men again.
Tell me why all the most amazing, attractive, beautiful, loving women that I know are all single right now. And I just saw a statistic that said by 2030, 45% of women are going to be single. And they didn't say men, too. They said women because they're trying to highlight the fact that we're like taking our...
Shorty was so close. Shorty was so close. You know how delusional you gotta be to sit up here and realize that most women are gonna be old and single by 2030, or I forgot what number that was. 45% of women are gonna be single, and it didn't say guys, but it said women because we're taking our power back.
The reason why these statistics this lady is talking about does not mention men, guys, is because men have no hand in these women being single. It is, again, the women doing this to themselves.
Yeah, this again. I don't know what power these women derive from being single, but they've somehow convinced themselves they gain some kind of supernatural abilities from it. I mean, think about it. Some men have been single for years, yet there's no sign of any mystical powers emerging. But this is just a coping mechanism. When 2030 rolls around and 45% of women are single, their responses will look very different. Even now, we're already seeing women asking where all the good men are, so this facade of empowerment won't last much longer. The idea that independence somehow replaces companionship only goes so far. Right now, it might feel empowering to say they don't need anyone, but as the years go by, that mindset starts to break down. There are life events, challenges, and moments of loneliness that come along, and without a partner to share them with, independence alone can start to feel empty.
And why did these women all do that to themselves? It's all because they want to show that they are better than men and they don't need men in their lives, which is absolutely insane.
Fellas, wait your turn. By 2030, 45% of American women ages 25 through 44 are projected to be single. Wait your turn.
I hate to say it. It's time. Oh my goodness, I'm over dating. I'm so over it. I don't know why, it's just draining, exhausting, discouraging. Because I always find myself, I'm like, what did you do wrong, Anna? What did you do wrong? Like, what's wrong with you? Why is it the same every single time? Like, same outcome. I don't know. I'm just like, ugh. It just makes me feel bleh thinking about it. It ruins my day.
If you guys are wondering, what does she mean by the same outcome? It just means that she is dating the same top percenters who always end up dumping her.
You know, by 2030, 45% of women in North America are said to be single and to have no children.
I won't be surprised if these statistics will be applied to the whole world and not just North America.
Now, there's nothing wrong with making the conscious choice to not have any children, but to not have children and to be single out of the fact that our society is telling us that being independent and that this whole feminist movement is the answer. If it's the answer, then why are we the loneliest generation to exist? Why are more and more people struggling to find relationships? Why are more people depressed and unhappy than ever in time?
And let's not forget, guys, this generation of women is known for taking more antidepressants and medications for mental health. It shows how miserable these women have made themselves.
The study predicts that by 2030, 45% of women will be single. Now, apparently, single women are empowered, meanwhile, single men feel lonely.
Correction, single men will feel better being without these toxic women and spending time with other guys who appreciate them more and share similar hobbies.
I'm going to read it to you guys because I think it's a really interesting study. It says that with the modern dating market, nearly half of women in their childbearing years will be without a male counterpart. Now, there's a few reasons for this. So one, women aren't getting married young anymore. We have so many other options for what we want to do with our lives, so that getting married is no longer like the default option. We're focusing on our careers, we're going to grad school, traveling, our friends, and extended social circles, and taking our time to find the right guy. Number two is we aren't having babies like we used to, with more options for birth control and yada yada yada. I really just wanted to say yada yada yada. Quite interesting. What do you guys think about that? I feel like women are more successful now than ever. We're seeing a lot of business women and stuff like that, and I feel like people just aren't really settling how they used to. It's a good thing, but then what does that mean if such a high percentage, nearly 50% of women, are having children? What does that mean for the rest of us? And what does that even mean for the population? Will we see that it starts to slow down? I just find that really, really interesting.
And that is, again, guys, what these women actually wanted. They wanted to live in the same standards that men are living up to. Then they turn their back to men and blame all of their suffering on them.
First off, let's get something clear. This is happening mainly in the West. The rest of the world is doing fine. The truth is, women here have been sold a lie about what it means to be empowered, and it's gone to their heads. Many have started to believe that they don't need men anymore. This empowerment message has turned into something that doesn't just encourage independence, but actually promotes the idea that men are optional or even unnecessary. What's interesting is that when men make money and are businessmen, they look to start families and procreate. But when women have money and success, they want to be single and boss babes. But to be honest, if that is what makes them happy, then go for it. It weeds out the good apples from the bad ones anyway. But it's just so hard to believe that they're actually happy, because they're always asking for men. But the bottom line is, a society where men and women are separated becomes very dangerous. It's unnatural.
Absolutely correct. Women think that men are trying to be successful so that we can somehow get a one-up on women and assert our dominance over their lives like we give a damn.
I have never met a woman that confesses that she cheated on her ex. I've met plenty of men that have owned up to it and they've confessed that they have cheated in the past, but never have I ever met a woman that has taken accountability or has taken the blame for the relationship ending, let alone cheating in her past relationship.
And that is part of what we are always talking about, the lack of accountability.
Listen, after 7 days straight of what are you doing? How was your day? If you're not planning a date, if you're not taking me out, if you're not trying to catch my vibe in real time, lose my number. Delete it. Matter of fact, I'll do you one better. I'll leave you right where you're at, because why are you wasting my time? Why are you wasting your time? Flirting with me and not backing it up is crazy, because I'm ready to be somebody's wife.
Imagine for a moment that this lady comes to you and asks you to wife her up with this attitude and unreasonable list of expectations. No thank you.
Recently, I've been hearing a lot of buzz around the 2019 Morgan Stanley study that predicts 45% of women between the ages of 25 to 44 will be single and childless by 2030. We're at 41% in 2018, so it's expected that more and more women will be single and childless as the years roll on. As long as I can afford to go on the seemingly few bachelorette trips to Mexico that are going to happen, I'm Gucci. I can stop putting so much pressure on myself to make a lot of money, travel the world, and do everything I want to do in the next 3 years before I turn 30. What it sounds like Morgan is trying to tell us is that the girls are going to be having Dua Lipa summers for the next solid decade.
It is so funny that this lady reads that line the way she does, while it actually meaning that she and other women like her have to be prepared for living a life alone.
No, what Morgan is telling men is to invest in cat food and bottles of wines, because that's exactly what modern women will be sipping on in their empty homes. And remember, the sole purpose this research was conducted in the first place was for them to know how to invest in the coming years. And while all this is happening, the Passport Bros movement will have sped up. But more importantly, what women fail to understand is that single, childless women tend to be very unhappy and much lonelier.
And we have talked about this before, guys. Men nowadays will travel to other countries to find a woman who is actually nice and feminine.
I hate dating. Like, I genuinely hate it. Yes, I like being in love. Yes, I like meeting new people. But going through the whole, oh, where did you grow up? What do you want to do with your life? And explaining myself to people over and over and over again drives me insane. Like, you don't know how badly I just want to meet someone and love them for the rest of my life. Someone who just hits all my check boxes. Loving, kind, ambitious, courageous, strong, knows what they're doing with their life, has goals, has a career in mind, knows what they want from a relationship, generous, humble, teachable, compassionate, hardworking, perseverant. So if someone can create a dating app where those guys are on it, sign me up.
If you guys have noticed, she wants someone who has a career and a life. Why is that? So that she can leech off of him and take half of his assets in the divorce court if she decides to leave him because she feels like it.
Guys, you cannot build a relationship with a woman who is emotionally immature. Now, she might be really attractive, really sexy. Maybe you had a great couple of first dates, but when you notice that things get real and she lacks emotional regulation, or she avoids accountability, or she has real limited empathy and understanding, or she's totally afraid of vulnerability, this demonstrates that she's emotionally immature. And that means she's not going to be right for you. Because instead of enjoying the relationship, being with her in the relationship, building something together, you're going to spend your time constantly trying to be the bigger person, constantly trying to fix her, smooth things over, and repair a relationship that probably wasn't the right one to begin with.
Exactly. No man would ever be with someone who is not mature. Men want someone who has their head on their shoulders to be by their side, not make their lives even harder.
I'm at Costco right now, and I literally just saw a man that is the absolute description of my best friend's dream man, I believe, and I literally am trying to follow him to see if he has a wedding ring on, and I'm debating asking if he has a girlfriend. I know if I had to draw the perfect man for her, this is the man I would draw. Okay, I see a ring on his left hand.
He's so for real right now. Since when is it socially acceptable to follow anyone around the freaking grocery store? Since when? The audacity. If men did this, they would be considered creepy. They'd have the cops called on them. They'd probably be escorted out of the grocery store and banned from said store. So what makes you think that it is okay for you to do it as a woman? And then you made a comment about, oh, you want to see if he's married. So on the off chance that he might be married, what if he had his family with him? What if he had children with him and you're over here stalking him and his family? And you don't think that's fucking weird? Again, if men were to do this, then he'd be looked at as a predator. But then somebody actually called you out on this bullshit behavior and you actually followed it up by saying that women don't give off creepy or weird vibes. You followed it up with saying that men are weird and creepy or whatever the fuck you said. And if they're weird and creepy, why are you stalking them? And what does that say about you? Like, be so for real. And then y'all will always preach that it's not about looks and you want a good guy that treats you good. But now you're literally stalking this man in the grocery store based off what he looks like because it's your friend's dream guy. How is he her dream guy if you know nothing about him? Oh, right, because attractiveness outweighs anybody's standards. It's absolutely diabolical to turn around and say that all men are weird and creeps and women don't give off weird vibes as you're stalking somebody in the grocery store. Grow the hell up. Okay, bye.
Ah, yes, the double standards. And again, these same women will push men away and ruin their lives, but also proceed to do the same thing they accuse men of doing. How absolutely shocking.
I just want every man watching this video to imagine themselves walking into Victoria's Secret, recording women walking around, just like what this woman here is doing in Costco. You would be cancelled and probably be in jail within minutes. This is creepy behavior, and isn't it evidence of stalking? The double standard is unbelievable. If a man did this, he would be labeled a pervert or a predator. But when women do it, it's often seen as harmless or even cute. This inconsistency shows how society tends to hold men to a much stricter standard when it comes to respecting personal boundaries. How disgusting.
And it always goes to show how childish and insufferable some of these individuals are. And as we have always been saying, it's the women who did this to themselves.
Do we think 40 is too old to date a girl in their late 20s? Like, I'm 27, but my friend disagrees and she says I need someone younger to keep up with my lifestyle. But all the guys my age don't want to settle down. So here I am. What do we think? I think it's fine.
Why would any man settle down with an older woman, let alone any woman at all these days? For what a man would get out of it, it's really hard to convince him to do so.
I fucking hate going on dates. Why do I want to be with someone, but I don't want to talk to anyone? We're about to go on a date and I'm going to report back. It's going well. We kissed, but I know he's a fucker. I know.
So I was talking to a male friend of mine the other day, and he told me that women don't apologize and women can't be held accountable. And I began to really think deeply about this idea. And one of the things that came across my mind is, in the last 9 months or so of me being in my private practice, I have myself experienced many women, whether they came in as a couple or they came by themselves, they very abruptly discontinued their therapy. And I started to reflect and really think, what was going on here? And I noticed that after I had to confront them about something, I had to bring to their attention something they were doing that wasn't contributing to the health of the relationship, they became very defensive and very, just very harsh, and they stopped coming. And even though the husband would continue to come, he made it very clear that, yeah, she won't apologize. She thinks you're wrong. She thinks you're taking my side. And I began to really reflect, like, oh my gosh, is it true that women don't apologize? Is it that women struggle with being held accountable? I'd love your thoughts on this. Me personally, I think it has to do with a person's level of emotional maturity. What do you think?
I think it's absolutely true. A lot of these girls nowadays, guys, are ready to go through all of the hoops and loops, even if it destroys your life, just so that they won't apologize or have any accountability.
After 31 years of marriage, it doesn't get any better. Don't take accountability and responsibility, but plays the victim. 3 times we started counseling at my wife's suggestion. 3 times she ended therapy after a few sessions. She looks for a therapist who agrees with her. My ex-wife convinced herself that she was putting in effort to fix our relationship. while she did literally nothing. My wife tries to manipulate me with my therapist, says, "You need to." You mean the therapist I've never met, that only hears your side? We got married at 16, and I was 17 years old. 32 years later, she is yet to admit any wrongdoing, even if I show her proof. She doesn't admit it. We stopped going because the therapist was on my side. Those were her words.
And as you can tell from these comments that no matter how old or young the women are, a lot of them will never take accountability. And why is that? Because a lot of them immature and irresponsible, and they would rather be the victim in the situation.
Women don't apologize and hang on to their egos because they believe that they're never wrong in the marriage. To them, it's all about pointing their fingers at their husbands, get their therapist to agree with them, instead of taking accountability for their actions, or whatever happens in the marriage. Remember, as long as they feel a certain way, it's all valid to them, because their feelings is what they're loyal to the most. Even this guy here, when he went to the therapist was on his side, but the wife did not like that. The truth is, a lot of these women think they're perfect, and they believe the guy is always the problem.
And let's not forget to add that they will never listen to logic or common sense because it quote-unquote feels wrong, which is so silly. But anyway, guys, we are going to be leaving today's episode there. As always, remember to leave your thoughts and your comments. Make sure you guys take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next episode. Peace.